Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'll be discussing to you a topic in the introduction to the philosophy of the human person as subject in the senior high school. And I know you're ready, so let's begin. Now, I would like you to look at the picture. What can you see? In the first picture, you can see a man underwater, right? With his swimming gear. And the second picture, a person is flying using a parachute. Now, I would like you to look at the picture carefully. What do you think this picture shows us or illustrates or demonstrates? That because of our bodies, we are limited, right? What do I mean with that? In the first picture, it shows that as human persons, or since we have bodies, we cannot really breathe underwater. We can hold our breath perhaps for a certain couple of minutes, right? But we cannot really stay few hours or days underwater like the animals underwater. And for the second picture, we cannot really fly, right? Because of our human bodies, we are limited to flying. We cannot really, we don't have wings like the birds or other flying objects. And so, it shows that our bodies limit us to experience or to do these things, right? At the end of this lesson, you shall be able to identify and explain the three categories of human limitation. You are going to cite examples of human limitations and, of course, recognize one's limitation and think how you can surpass that limitation. So, first things first, let us understand what is limitation. What goes into your mind when you hear the word limitation? Now, I would like you to read silently the definition of limitation. Thanks for reading. When we say limitation, these are the things or something that controls us, all right, in doing possible things or which deters us in doing something. As you can see in the first picture, this one, can you see my cursor? In that picture, you can see that particular vehicle should traverse or travel that particular lane. Meaning, yung mga sasakyan dito sa left side, okay, sila lang yung pwedeng dumaan dyan, right? And on the right side of the highway, may certain vehicles naman ang pwedeng dumaan dyan. Meaning, pag sinabi nating highway, you cannot really traverse, okay, from right to left, left to right, ganun, hindi pwede yon. You should follow, alright, the traffic rules, meaning we are limited in that particular lane. Bakit kaya may limitation? For us to have an organized traffic or flow of vehicles, right? Para naman hindi magulo or para hindi tayo magbanggaan doon sa highway, kailangan nating limitahan yung space na pwede nating daanan. As you can see in the second picture, because of our bodies, we are limited to running for, let's say, a couple of hours, but we cannot run continuously throughout the day. Like, tumatakbo ka na lang ng buong magdamag or buong araw. Perhaps may mga taong pwedeng gawin yan. However, not all of us can do that. Meaning, our bodies imposes limitations. Alright? The third picture rather is time. We are also limited by time, meaning I cannot discuss to you 24 hours lecture with this video. Why? Because your concentration is also being limited, or yeah, you have a limited concentration. Perhaps ang kaya nyo lang i-concentrate because you have a lot of things to do is that 10 minutes can do. Maintindihan nyo na yung lesson natin. Pero kapag diniscuss ko ito ng 24 hours or magdamagan tayo nag-uusap dito, syempre, yung concentration nyo, there is limitation. Right? Ayun. Lalo-lalo na yung mga bata. Diba kapag kinakausap mo yung mga bata, minsan may certain 5 minutes na unawahan ka nila. But later on, hindi na naman nila alam gagawin nila or kinukulit ka na naman nila. Meaning, time also limits us. Alright? There. And the next one, as you can see in the last picture, a glass of water, okay, may certain limit or liter, milliliter yung baso na yan, yung pwedeng i-contain niya na water. Okay, so may limitation. Hindi mo pwedeng ilagay yung buong bottle of water sa isang glass na yan because again, with the physical, okay, aspect of that certain glass limits the water, okay, na pwedeng ilagay. So that's the meaning of limitation. Meaning, again, it controls or it imposes the things or possible things that a person or a thing could be used or applied. And speaking of limitation, di ba sabi nila, yeah, you can have your girlfriend or your boyfriends, but you have limitations, right? Hindi ka pwedeng, pag hindi naman kayo kasal, you cannot do some premarital sex, or you cannot kiss, or whatnot, right? So these are the things that holds you or holds us from doing, because we have limitations. Now, there are three or categories of limitations, all right? So the first one is facticity. I would like you to read silently. Thank you for reading. That's awesome. Facticity means that these are the things in our lives that are already given and that we did not choose it. Okay? For us to better understand this, let me show you or let me explain it to you through examples. So facticity, being born in this world, okay, is there are some limitations. Okay? For example, in the first picture, that person, because of his human body, okay, he was born with hearing impairments, meaning bingi siya. And being bingi or being deaf, alright, limits that person to enjoying or listening to good music. Okay? Kasi nga, bingi siya, so meaning, hindi niya ma-enjoy ngayon, nalilimitahan rather, yung mga, yung enjoyment niya in terms sa entertainment of listening to music. Okay? Now, let's talk about the second picture. You can see different phrases, right? From different races or may iba-ibang lahi. And because we have different races or lahi, what do you think is the limitation of that? For example, you. Us being Filipinos, ano yung maaring limitation natin? For some Filipinos, it's hard for them to speak in English, right? Which limits them in communicating with other people. Okay? Or yung, di ba gusto mo maging Korean ka pero you were born a Filipino. So there, it limits you to becoming a Korean. Kasi nga, Filipino ka na ipanganak. Alright? Next one, the third picture. You are born with a certain sex. Right? Female, male, hindi na naman yung 3 times a day ang iniisip nyo. Alright? And with these genders, let's say, your classmate, he cannot really be a female. Okay? Kahit pa ang gusto niya maging babae, pero yun nga, pinanganak siyang lalaki. So, there, he is limited because of this facticity na kung saan to truly express himself as a woman. Kahit pa magpa-sex change siya, again, yung fact na, yung truth na, yung katotohanan na lalaki pa rin siya, biologically. Right? So there, nalilimitahan tayo because of this facticity. Next one, the last picture, let's say that your classmate or someone is born poor. Of course, as that person did not choose to be born poor. For example, ako, hindi ko naman pinili na maipanganak sa less fortunate na family, right? And being poor has a limitation. Bakit kaya? Paano? So being poor, of course, having the lack of money, syempre, you cannot go to fancy restaurants. You cannot travel around the world. Why? Because you have no money. Okay? Because you are less fortunate. And that limits you from enjoying, let's say, the things that I've mentioned earlier. Okay? So that is an example of what we call, facticity. Mga katotohanan or mga attributes, mga bagay na ipinanganak tayo na meron na ito. Okay? So that's the first category of limitation. Naintindihan po? Now, let's go to the second category of human limitation. Spatial temporal. I would like you to read silently. Thanks for reading. When we say spatial temporal, it's all about us, human beings, okay, being limited because we consume or we occupy a certain space and time. Again, since meron tayong katawan, meron tayong inookupahan na espasyo sa mundo, pati yung oras. Alright? Paano yung naging limitation? Look at the first picture. That person is occupying a seat, right? And he is reading at that particular moment. Meaning, hindi siya pwedeng mapunta sa ibang places. Alright? Habang nagbabasa, habang nakaupo. Meaning, that person is occupying a space. So, nalilimitahan yung pwede niyang gawin since he occupies a space. Right? And time. The second picture, as you can see, is a man watching a sunset. What do you think is the meaning of that? It illustrates that us having human bodies, we cannot exist in this world forever. Okay? Again, since may ino-occupy nga tayong oras sa mundo, meron tayong birth dates at meron din tayong death dates. Again, dahil sa katawan natin, okay, may oras tayong namatay. May oras tayong nabuhay at may oras din tayong mamamatay. Again, paano yung limitation? Kung mamamatay ka, of course, kung namatay ka, you can no longer enjoy, right? So meaning, since we have our bodies, we are limited. Okay? May oras lang tayo dito sa mundo. Okay, naintindihan po ba natin ang spatial temporal as a human limitation? Okay, let's proceed to the third human limitation. I would like to read body as intermediary or tagapamagitan. So what is body as intermediary and how is this a limitation? As you read in the definition, us human beings possess body, or we have a body, and because of this body we are able to experience many things in our environment or all throughout our life or existence, meaning we can go to places, we can taste different various tasty food, we can experience or see, witness the picturesque, appreciate the beauty of nature or all the man-made tourist destinations and whatnot. However, because of our bodies, we can experience pain, right? We can get ill. So, as we experience these things in life, our body also limits us. And how is that? Let's say now you are not feeling well. Let's say you have colds. And because of your colds, you can no longer concentrate while listening or watching this video. Meaning that body now limits you in understanding the lesson that I'm discussing here. Alright? Or let's say you are in pain because nabasted ka. And since in pain ka ngayon dahil nabasted ka rather, or that you are heartbroken, it now limits you, right, in understanding, or your concentration now is being affected with that pain or heartache that you are experiencing now. And that is a limitation imposed by your body as intermediary or tagapamagitan. Okay? And also, because of human bodies, alright, as intermediary, some people cannot really fully express their emotions, alright, or they cannot really understand what you are saying because of their mental state, and that limits the person from experiencing or from understanding the things that the other person is telling them. Let's say since we have our ears, since we have our brains, we are able to experience or we are able to understand what people are telling us. For example, ako, because of your human body, naunawaan nyo, natututo kayo sa sinasabi ko. Tama? Pero may mga tao that yung mental state nila, for example, they are problematic. Okay? And because them being problematic, they can no longer grasp, understand basic concepts. Or hindi nila, naguguluhan sila sa sinasabi ko because of their bodies, because of their brains, because of the composition or kung ano man yung nangyayari sa utak nila ngayon. And that limits them. Why? Again, it limits them from understanding the things that I am telling you. And that is because us, human beings, have bodies na tagapamagitan nga in experiencing the world. Nagets po? Okay. I know nako-confuse kayo, but let's proceed to the next slide for us to know more about the different categories of human limitation. Alright, I would like you to look at the 3 pictures. Under facticity, nationality, why is that a limitation? For example, your skin color. You want to have a whiter, healthier skin color, pero you're born a Filipino. And being a Filipino, ang general kulay natin is kayo manggi. So, there. Nalilimitahan na yung gusto mong maging Koreano ka or Amerikano ka or Latino ka because again, yung fact na nabuhay ka bilang isang Filipino kasi and you have no choice and you did not choose that, right? Kaya siya facticity, kaya siya limitation. For the second picture, you are commuting from your home to school, right? And sa pagsakay mo ng jeep, since you have a body, you occupy a space and time, right? So sa loob ng jeep na yon, okay, sabi ng, what's this, nung barker, okay, 10-10, pero malaki yung katawan mo, hindi na kayo magkasya. There, and time. So, since pagsakay mo ng jeep, okay, nasa loob ka ng jeep kasi, ngayon, magta-time na, nasa loob ka pa rin ng jeep at siksikan pa sa jeep. And nalilimitahan ka na doon. Why? So let's say that while you are in the jeep, your body is in the jeep, nag-i-start na yung discussion namin sa school. And so, nalimitahan na yung pag-earn mo, pag-kikinig mo ng lesson dahil nga nasa loob ka po ng jeep, which is spatial, temporal, na kung saan nalimitahan ka na sa mga dapat mong ginagawa. Alright? Because meron kang katawan at may ino-occupy ka na espasyo at oras sa mundo. Which you cannot be both. Right? Hindi ka naman pwedeng nasa loob ng jeep tapos na yung utak mo ipapadala mo sa classroom para makinig sa discussion namin, di ba? Ayun, kaya siya nagiging human limitation. The third one, intermediary, since we have a body na nagpapamagitan or namamagitan rather upang ma-experience natin yung mga nangyayari sa mundo, okay, we cannot really express, okay, what we feel using our faces or using our body. Alright? Minsan nga, you can say that you are happy but deep inside, you're sad. You're empty. Right? Meaning, yung katawan natin, nalilimitahan niya yung paano natin ma-experience ang mga bagay-bagay. Okay? For example, hindi ka pwedeng magstay sa labas, especially if you're here in Baguio City, labas ng nakahubad. Especially dawn o yung madaling araw. Why? Because sa sobrang lamig, makakasakit ka niyan. Right? Meaning, hindi mo fully ma-experience yung sobrang lamig or yung sobrang init kasi nga may limitasyon yung katawan natin to experience these things. Okay. I think napahaba na yung discussion ko. So, there. Let us check your learning. When we say limitations, ito yung mga bagay that naglilimit sa atin to fully experience the world. Okay, and there are 3 categories of human limitation. Excuse me. First one is facticity, yung mga limitasyon that can be attributed nung tayo ay naipanganak. For example, yung lahi natin, yung sex natin, yung gender natin, yung yung estado ng buhay natin. Again, itong mga ito ay nagdudulot ng limitasyon sa atin. Alright? To experience the world or to experience life. Next one, yung spatial temporal, meaning dahil we occupy space and time, we cannot stay in the world for a long time. I mean, hindi ka pwedeng magstay sa mundo ng permanently. Lahat tayo mamamatay. And that is a limitation kasi hindi natin actually alam kung kailan, saan, bakit, paano tayo mamamatay. And so, nalilimitahan na ngayon yung pag-experience natin, pag-enjoy natin ng buhay. Alright? Next one, intermediary. Since yung katawan natin ay namamagitan upang ma-experience natin ang mundo, hindi natin totally ma-experience ang mga bagay na to dahil nga may limitasyon yung pagiging katawang tao natin. Alright? There you have it. Okay. Thank you and there. Enjoy the rest of the day. Bye-bye.